What up, everybody? You're now tuned into the true definition of a sports fanatic. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley, back today with another live stream. And I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, hear ye, in all of the land, we must recognize GOAT James as the greatest, the absolute greatest. He might not be your GOAT, but he is my GOAT. Most points scored, fourth in assists, 20 years in the game. He's what 38 years old. How much longer can he go? Who knows? But you got to give LeBron his props. And it's crazy, Mr. Reed, and everybody have their own GOAT. But for people, when you hear about greatest scorers, they say LeBron doesn't come to mind. He scored the most points in the history of the NBA. How does he not come to mind? He might not be your top guy. I'm cool with that. But greatest scorers, come on, man. It's laughable at this point. But once again, I got my co-host with me, Mr. Reed. How you feeling today, sir?
Hey, man, been a good week of sports, and I'm feeling good. And like you say, man, you can't argue when a guy scored more than 38,000 points. So I commend.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a great milestone. That record will be around for a while.
Yes, it will. Absolutely, man. But his achievement was almost overshadowed by the trade deadline. I'm looking at that, man. I'm like, we were just going over. We like, yo, who's going where? Who did this? Who did what? And I'm like, it was like, this the wildest trade deadline ever. And I'm like, hey, I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment, but we gotta talk about it. I mean, Kevin Durant to the Suns, Kyrie Irvin to the Dallas Mavericks, Russell Westbrook to the Jazz, D'Angelo Russell to the Lakers, Pat Bev to the Magic, Mike Conley to the T-Wolves, John Wall to the Rockets. Hilarious, absolutely hilarious. Eric Bridges to the Nets, James Wiseman to the Pistons, Sadiq Bey to the Hawks, Gary Payton to the Warriors, Mo Bamba to the Lakers, just to name a few. And it's not over yet. They got it's more. It's still going. So, man, but it's crazy. You said you had to get some research done on it. You ain't know so many had went down.
Yeah, being in that classroom, but I'll tell you what, when you look down, say about the last 5 or 6 years, this was a lot of action today, man. You have to go back a couple of years to see this many trades get done before that deadline, and then historically they don't really have a lot of big names going before the trade deadline, but this was different today, man. I say this, I think the NBA, at least for the last 2 days, have upstaged the Super Bowl. I mean, when you trade KD to the Suns and you got Kyrie going to the Mavs and Westbrook going to the Jazz or wherever he might end up at, man, that's major news, boy. Them some major chess players out there. And I'm a little surprised. I'm a little surprised about the I'll just say this. I'm not surprised in Sean Mark because I don't think he's been a real great GM with Brooklyn, but I was a little surprised that they just said, okay, we got rid of Kyrie. We know that KD's asked for a trade before, and we gonna send him his wish instead of trying to add another piece to play alongside him, but. I'm kind of glad that they kind of realized that what they wanted was a failure, basically. When you try to bring in James Harden, you bring in Kyrie, you bring in KD, and I think the combined games of all three of them, they played like 16 games, and all this was all hype and no substance and delivery, and I was surprised though. It's been a surprising week for the Nets, to be honest. I was a little surprised that they traded Kyrie, to be honest. They try to get a restructured deal or extension going, and it didn't go the way it. I guess either party thought it was going to go, and things like that don't happen that quick in the NBA. When a superstar player like Irvin wants a contract extension, and then they go actually into negotiations, the note, they're usually kind of just okay. Well, we couldn't get nothing done at mid-season, so let's table it when the season is over with. But obviously, those two sides, man. I heard some comments from Kyrie the other night, and there's some bad will and blood between parties, and it's understood.
Yeah.
I don't think that the Nets handled everything right with Irvin, with Kyrie, and I think it all goes back to the GM. I just think that he's inexperienced. I think that you go back to the Steve Nash situation, that wasn't a good fit.
That blew up in their face.
Yeah, and I think he made bad moves. I think he didn't. I thought he saw more of the talent potential of three superstars and didn't take in the just how different maybe their personalities are, and could they establish chemistry between each other. And I think those are things you have to put in the equation also when you try to put super teams together and three superstars on the same team. And it was even talked about, and we even talked about this on the show when they made that trade when James Harden was sent to Brooklyn. And the first question of when that happened was, how are they going to share the basketball between Kyrie and James?
Yeah, this first thing. I mean, you want to know how bad the blood was in New York? The mayor of New York commented on Kyrie's trade. He said, I will find the team that beats us the most and send him to that team, because then we start beating that team. And when I saw this, man, I laughed a little bit because I know it's in jest and it's a joke. But he's said things about Kyrie before. Kyrie's never responded to him, with the mandates and the COVID lockdown and stuff like that, and getting the vaccine and whatnot. And Kyrie, taking a stand and not doing it. He's had things to say about Kyrie in the past. But I'm like, dude, you got issues in New York. You ain't got the greatest record in New York. So I'm like, you don't need to be talking either. Your Nets is your record is similar to the Nets as far as a New York mayor is concerned. So that's just laughable to me. You're commenting on Kyrie Irving, but I'm guessing it's all in fun.
But you know what I say is, I don't like when politicians get into sports. I say that's even in Jacksonville. I don't like when the mayor pretends to be a cheerleader for the Jags. I just think that there's a place for politicians. And I can remember back when the Jaguars played the Patriots in that AFC Championship game, and Mayor Curry with his entourage, and they like blocking the elevator off and all kind of stuff. And I just, I know when you represent your city, you want everything good, whether it's your own football team representing or what. But like these comments from the mayor of New York, I just think, man, that's not your place, man. The man is in Dallas. I know that all the stuff that happened in the pandemic, he did it for his reasons. I mean, I'm talking about Kyrie. He did it for his reasons, and we have to, whether we like it or not, he was true to his own convictions. And if a person gonna be true to his own convictions and he's willing to go through the sacrifice of that, which he did, then you can't say nothing bad about him. But as we go back to this, man, I just never thought it was a great fit. I thought that it goes back to the GM, it goes back to Marks, and I think he has a lot of inexperience. I think the owner obviously put a lot of faith in him, and I'll be honest with you, Brandon. I'm happy to see Kyrie go to. I don't know if Dallas is his destination or whatever, but I'm happy the guy going to a place that he can feel appreciated for his talents, and give them a new start. Not so much of a pressure cooker as it was in New York, Brooklyn, and just I think sometimes a player like him, I know the naysayers gonna say, well, he's been to Cleveland, he's been to a couple of places that didn't work out for him, and
Yeah, been to Boston. Yeah, been to the Nets. Yeah.
So I like to see this
Yeah.
guy come out and have a new start. Got a great player. He's going to with Doncic, going to play alongside. Less pressure in Dallas. And who knows, man? I mean, it might be something we be talking about in June, to be honest. Who knows?
who knows? Yeah, because that backcourt now, him and Luka, I think it's that I think that's a deadly combo.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I like that move. I like what the Suns did with bringing Kevin Durant. I think they got significantly better. I think the Lakers really got better. They addressed a lot of needs that they had. It's a few. I think the Clippers, if they can get Russell Westbrook, they're going to get even better. Yeah, hey, somebody need to ask Ja Morant, y'all still good in the West? Is y'all still good? You still good? Because ever since he said that, now you really got competition. Now the Grizzlies don't look as tough and as menacing, as they did before. I mean, I think they can still win. I think they can still, put up a good record and maybe make a little run in the playoffs. But I mean, you think you taking them against these Suns? I don't see them beating the Suns.
But
I don't see them. Yeah, I don't see them beating the even the Lakers now. I give them a nice little chance against the Lakers, but even now, I can see the Lakers beating them. You definitely not beating the Warriors, So now you gonna struggle with the Mavs. Hey, yeah. But what up, Pete? Pete say Mavs play no defense now.
Well, you're right. They wasn't playing much of a defense even before they got them.
Yeah, so I mean, so defense ain't really they calling card no way. So they'll score 130, but they'll give up 131. That's how it goes.
Yeah, that's the way it is in the West, man. But I look at these trades, man. I think the Lakers, as you say, I think they got better. I think that they had to address getting some more better outside shooting, and I think they got a good point guard. I think they got some shooters. I think they got a little more depth, interior depth, and I think they can move up on the in those rankings in the standings there. But I mean, I'll tell you what, though, Brian, boy, that West that's a monster, man. I mean, when you look at that Suns team, when you got the scoring that they have, and you add a KD to that, and you got a Chris Paul, a guy who can facilitate and get you easier shots, and you got Devin Booker.
Yeah, absolutely.
The only person, I say this, man, the only person that can mess up the Suns is Monty Williams. That's it.
That's it.
Over coaching, trying to change what KD does. I hope that doesn't happen. But I know Monty Williams, so, and I know that his issues with DeAndre Ayton. So I don't know. I hope he doesn't do that with KD, even though KD is not a guy that's gonna be combative.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Pete. Yeah, that's true. You could talk about that in any major sport. Health is the key. That's like the Jaguars. That's the one thing that I don't think was highlighted enough about the Jaguars' run this year was how healthy they stayed. I mean, you lost your starting guard, you lost the tackle. You didn't lose. Only significant defender you lost was DeJuan Smoot, who wasn't a starter. He was a rotational player. And I don't really count, losing Shaquille Griffin because I think that actually made us better. Yeah.
Yeah.
But not that
on that one.
Yeah, for sure. But man, we're gonna take a look at this historic moment by LeBron James, man. Let's check this out.
That's a great moment.
Man, excellent moment. Excellent moment. Yeah, excellent moment. And then to see Kareem there as well. I like the fact Kareem came out, took the picture with him. He's able to speak, but they did say they weren't going to stop the game if it was like close. I think with under 6 minutes in the fourth, or if it was overtime or something like that, they weren't going to stop the game. But he ended up doing this, I think, right at the end of the third quarter. So he got to have this moment. But if somebody breaks this, it won't be for a long time. And his record stood 38 years, and LeBron is 38. His best credit. That's crazy to me. But yeah, it's I think LeBron has a little bit left in the tank. I don't think he's done. What about you?
Oh, I totally agree. I was watching them. Man, I actually fell asleep watching this game here, but I watched them play early in the week, man, and it's just like, boy. I think he played the Pelicans that Sunday night game. And, man, there was announcers was saying, boy, the guards are getting out of the way. He's beating guys down the floor, and he just doesn't play like, what, he's 38 years old?
Yeah. Nobody can stop him from getting to the basket still.
I know. Ain't that something, man? Nobody can stop him from getting through the lane. And, and it's true. Some guys get in the lane and they ain't taking a charge from LeBron. I mean, they getting the heck out of the way, man. I mean, the guy is huge, man. But you know what, man? I'm from the Jordan era, if you want to call it that, man. But, one thing I appreciate about this guy has never let success go to his head. He's always worked. He's always been in shape. He's always had to meet expectations. He's always been a upfront, character type of guy who, man, you could tell your kid, man, you want a good role model, then follow this LeBron James. And I like the fact that he's got his family, his kids was there. And I think everything that you could write about his chapter, I think he's done even more than what it was expected of him. And he's a superstar. He defines what a superstar is, and it's good to see a guy who had all of this stuff bestowed upon him as a high school kid, lived up to it, and he's making impacts beyond the basketball court. And I commend him, man, because this generation needs role models more than ever. And you could never go back. I know he's still, who knows how long LeBron gonna play, but you'll never go back, even when he retire, and there's a black eye on something that he might have done in his career, man. And I just commend the guy. I don't know who the GOAT and who the greatest. Michael was great. Jordan, LeBron is great, but man, I really put a lot of emphasis on what this guy has done on the court, but definitely off the court. And just to be the person that he's been under all that pressure with the expectation, I might put him up there as the best when it comes to that, even beyond Jordan thing, man. It's just like this guy, it was the chosen one, and he lived up to it, and that record going to be around for a long, long time. We'll be watching that video for a long time when he shot that basket to get that record broken. So, I commit.
Yeah, and I saw it's a video. Yeah, I seen a video of Doc Rivers talking about LeBron, and he said if you go back and look at the newspaper clippings, the scouting report, all the hype surrounding him from the age of 16, and everything that was expected of him being anointed the next all-time great, he's exceeded all of the expectations that were put on him since he was 16. No question about it.
And something else, Brandon, being in a guy who covered the NBA, this guy was always a stand-up guy. Do you realize, like, when LeBron go to any city, even back in early 2000, man, he would get, like, who knows? He'd probably get about 20 requests for interviews. And I can always remember when he came to New Orleans, he would speak during the shoot around in that morning, speak before the game in the locker room, and obviously speak after the game. And a lot of superstar NBA players don't make themselves available to the media as much as he's done, which I think he's still doing it. And that says a lot. He ain't bashing reporters or mad at somebody act something crazy, which always happens. But
yeah,
I think he's always has I think he understands media and his platform probably better than. I mean, you might have to go back to like Jim Brown to know that when he speaks with a message a lot of the time, and that's I wish more athletes would understand the significance of what their platform can means to impact people in this country. I mean. That barbershop talk show that he does, and the friendship that he has with his high school guys,
yeah.
And it just seemed to me like this kid. I mean, when he was a kid coming into the league, it looked like he already knew he had a plan. I mean, his plan was already in place. And a lot of guys, when that money started floating around and the cars and the distractions and the women and all these different things, man, and you planning to do this and planning to do that and get swayed away by the distractions. This guy have never stopped working. That's the one thing that's got to be commended about LeBron. LeBron never took an off season off. Never. He always worked on the off season. He's got a full gym, full weights and everything. And for a guy that still got that type of motivation at his age and love the game as much as he loved the game, wanting to come to the gym early, work out, still working with weights, man, that's a one of a kind player.
Yeah.
Yeah. I commend him, man. Great guy. One of the greatest players that ever played the game. No question about it.
Yep. No question about it. One of the greatest, because you could debate all day about who's your favorite, who you like, or whatever. But you have to recognize LeBron as being one of those top guys. Absolutely.
Of course, man. The longevity is the one thing that he's going to have the edge over Jordan, man. Jordan, I saw Jordan when he was at this. Well, I saw Jordan when he was like 36. And he wasn't beating guys off the dribble at that age when he played for the Wizards. Jordan wasn't beating guys off the dribble.
Yeah, I see that they got this picture. They got LeBron at 38, and they got him look like he crossing somebody over, getting ready to pull up for a shot. And then shows Jordan at 38, he in the suit, a cigar in his mouth, and in the casino. So, hey, so just saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Jordan started sliding. I know when he was like 36. I think he was 36 when he went back, and I think he took the job with the Wizards and he decided to play and still be the GM or whatever. And I can attest because he played in the All-Star game in 2003 in Atlanta. And that's when those guys gave up, I think, Vince Carter gave up his starting position for Jordan, man. And Jordan, it was more just being a figurehead out there with the starters, but he didn't have it like he had, obviously. But this guy, shoot, man, you talking about the All-Star game, what, next week? Is it next? I think it's next Sunday. Man, he's going to go full blast. There ain't no special privileges going on out there in the field.
Yeah. Oh, he said MJ at 36 finished up his second three-peat. So that was 38. He was LeBron's age now. Okay. He was with the Wizards.
So, yeah, the 38 Jordan was much different than the 38 LeBron. Now, at 36, when he won that championship against Utah, hey, man, he hit the winning shot.
Yeah, no, yeah, I give it to him, but hey, it is what it is. But congratulations to LeBron James. I know this is a just a milestone, but what's most important to him, I'm sure, is getting back to the finals. That's the only thing on his mind. Now that this record's out of the way and the hoopla around it and things surrounding it, I'm sure he's glad it's over with and he can move forward and focus on getting back to the finals.
One more thing, Brandon. Do you think, before we go to this Ja Morant, do you think from what they did this week, do you think the Lakers got enough to make a strong push if they get to the playoffs? I think they're gonna get to the playoffs, but do you think that they got enough to make a run?
I don't know. I'm still wondering if they do. I don't know. If I had to bet, I'm not betting on them to win the title. I don't know if they have enough, but they're a lot closer than they were before the trades. I will say that. But I think if they do win, I think it's going to take LeBron just has to be himself, but the role players are going to have to play well. They're going to have to play well, and they're going to have to play well consistently. And they can't be minus whatever when he leaves the floor. You can't, because he has the rest. He's 38. He can't play 40 minutes no more. He can't play, all those minutes anymore. So
I like the comment that Pete said. I think they might have should have unloaded AD and got some more assets, even if it wasn't a draft pick.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, man. I watch AD. AD don't look like an elite player to me no more. He's good, but he don't stand out on the court to me anymore. I know he had a great game against Denver last week, but he just don't seem like he stands out enough. Like he's still deferring too much to LeBron, and he just feel like he don't have he's not comfortable being a star with a star like LeBron.
Yeah,
for whatever the reason.
Yeah. What up, Dale? I like this, Dale. I always, it baffled me a little bit, but I understand the comparison because you want to talk about greatest of all time. But he's like, I don't understand the comparison between Jordan and LeBron. Maybe LeBron and Magic. Yeah, because they're different players. They're two different players. One. I remember my uncle Bobby. He always would say, Kobe and Jordan were basically like hired guns. He said LeBron is a facilitator. That's what he is. He's a floor general. He just happens to be 6'8", 250.
Yeah. But you know what, man? Just imagine, though. The guy is 6'8", 250. I mean, let that sink in. He's 6'8", 250, and he's 38 years old, and he's beating guys down the floor. He's throwing passes between guys. He's running through guys. I mean, I know people talk about Tom Brady and all this stuff when he was, aging and everything like that and still winning the Super Bowl at that same age, man. But I don't know if I've seen an athlete. I'm going to say that I've seen a lot of basketball. I've seen a lot of football. I don't know if I've seen a 38-year-old guy that to me, it don't look like he's lost a lot of step from, I'm not going to say he's the same speed guy and,
that he was like 28
pound than he was when he first came in the league at 23, but I don't see a lot of regression.
Yeah.
I don't see the things that telling me, boy, Father Time is hitting them. I mean, actually, on this Laker team before they made this trade, it seemed like he played with more energy than anybody on the floor. At 38.
So yeah. So they see Pete he said AD ain't got the heart no more for whatever reason. Pete, we talk about that all the time. We like AD, he ain't got that dog in him, man. He's supposed to be Batman. He Robin.
It seemed like he don't love the game. It just seemed like, I don't know, maybe it's the California thing where he distracted, but it just seemed like the kid, it just seemed like the guy don't love the game. It's like, okay, I need to score, so I got to go score more. Oh, I need to go try to play, defend the paint. I don't like playing center, but I'm going to play it. And it just seems like he's just going through the motions. I mean, this guy 7 feet, can run, agile, and it just seems like he tired of basketball. Sometimes I look at him and just look like, man, this dude just like he just burned out of basketball, you know?
Yeah, it does. He said, Dale says 2 different types of players. Totally. Yeah, they are. He said, sorry, I missed the last few shows, crazy workouts. Oh, it's all good, Dale. You know, hey, that's why we got the replay. I understand. Yeah, I understand. Hey, I got crazy. It could get crazy for me too. And I know sometimes you just want to go where everybody knows your name. I know it's what it is. He said, I did have a problem with them losing, and I think James only had 2 points after he broke the record. Probably a lot going on. Yeah, he did. Man, the Thunder are decent, man. You know, they didn't play a cupcake, so you know it is what it is. But we're gonna wrap it right.
You know what happened? Hey, you know what happened after the game between Westbrook and Devin Ham, man? The coach, they got in a shouting match.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, after the game. After LeBron broke the record, they had a shouting match, then they traded him the next day.
Wow. I didn't hear about that. He said you talking about they say that Chris say they say AD stands for always dressing. Yo, I hadn't heard that one. That's good. That's good. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I hadn't heard that one. That's good.
Yeah, they were going at it, man. Sent them on his way.
He said, Dale said he ain't know that either. Hey, Dale, I ain't know that either. Wow, they got into a shouting match.
Yeah, got in a shouting match in the locker room after the record was broken. Ain't that something? That tells you all you need to know about Westbrook.
Yeah, that tell you what you need to know about Westbrook. Wow, that is crazy. I hadn't heard about that, but man, we're gonna wrap it right there because we had 33, so we get it moving right along. And this is our last topic on basketball. Then we're going to jump into football. Another story then popped up, so we're going to go over that a little bit because Brett Favre is suing people for information, but we're going to do that next. So Ja Morant's friends allegedly threatened and trained the laser on Pacers staff with Morant present after the game. Say NBA investigated the incident. The Pacers staff believes someone associated with Morant pointed a gun at them in the FedEx Forum park. Say several acquaintances of Memphis Grizzlies star Ja Morant allegedly aggressively confronted members of the Indiana Pacers staff after their game at the FedEx Forum last month. The group, according to the Athletics, Bob Kravis and Sam Amick, then allegedly trained a red laser on Pacers staff from a slow-moving SUV. Morant was reportedly in the SUV, and the Pacers staff and additional security believed the laser was attached to a gun, though it's unclear who was controlling it. We felt we were in grave danger, one person told the Athletic, anonymously out of fear of retaliation. Say the incident, oh man, I went too far. The incident took place after what was a contentious game on January 29th. The Grizzlies beat the Pacers 112-100. But the post-game incident followed one in the third quarter in which Morant's longtime friends Devontae Pack actually walked out onto the court and started yelling at Pacers players. The game was briefly halted and Pack was removed from the floor after he, along with Morant's father, T. Morant, and members of both teams verbally sparred. And so, okay, I didn't see this. So Ja Morant and Andrew Nembhard got into it, and eventually James Johnson got involved. Looks like Ja's friend Devontae Pack was escorted off the floor. Let's see this. Yeah, they being escorted off the floor
in Memphis.
And they had to stop the game because of this. He said Pack and others then walked within 30 feet of the Pacers bus after the game and started yelling at them again. Per the report, the incident continued for about 15 minutes until Morant left the arena and got into an SUV with Pack and another person. That's when the SUV then moved towards the Pacers bus and allegedly slowly pointed the laser at them. The Pacers group did not file a police report, apparently out of fear, but the team did tell the NBA, which launched a probe into the incident. Several individuals have been banned from the arena, but the league did not confirm who they are nor if a weapon was involved. The Grizzlies declined to comment other than to say that it complied completely with the NBA's investigation. They say Morant, who missed Sunday's game against Toronto with the wrist soreness, responded to Twitter with a quote tweet of Grizzlies head coach Taylor Jenkins. He says, did an investigation seem they were capping, still let an article come out to paint this negative image on me and my fam and ban my brother from home games for a year. Unbelievable. So say Jenkins briefly addressed the incident. Okay, and they talk about Morant. So Morant say, it's lies or whatever, and maybe it's not as bad as it seemed. But I'm like this, Mr. Reed. I don't care. I don't care if they're capping. I don't care if they're lying. You know why? Because you shouldn't be in this position in the first place, John Morant. Who are these guys? I don't care if y'all knee high to the tree high. I don't care if y'all were born in the same hospital and y'all were next to each other in the little clear little beds they had the babies in. Y'all came up together doing everything. I don't care. You should be disassociated from these people right now, whoever they are, because there's no reason for him to come out onto the floor knowing that he represents you. Your friends represent you. And dude, they Twitter's been killing him and talking about him being a fake gangster and all of this. And he said little stuff, maybe like little lyrics or whatever, and trying to maybe paint himself to be something that he's not. And I don't really care about that because that's what kids do. But this right here is serious. Yeah. Somebody pointed a laser. Don't know what it was attached to. What's the chance that they got a random laser pointer in the car and they just pointing lasers randomly with a laser pointer? These people fear for their life. This is a serious thing, and it seemed like in that tweet he didn't take it seriously.
Yeah,
this really bothers me, and for his dad to be involved, and this is where before I thought I'm like, okay, they doing too much when it comes to T. Morant. He's just a devoted dad or whatever. But now I'm like, he got into it with Shannon Sharp, and now he was on the floor for this, and I'm like, hey, somebody need to talk to T. Morant. This is what y'all get it from. Somebody need to talk to him and get him up out of here. But go ahead, Mr. Reed.
Well, I think two things. I mean, I think that let's just start with his father. I think the father needs to like back off a little bit, man. It's like you're walking in front of the camera, you're walking on the courtside seats, and it just seems like he's a attention guy through his son. I mean, you got, first of all, man, you can't live through your kids. I don't think that's a good thing. You got to appreciate what they are and what they do, but I think he's almost his whole identity that he's just the father of a basketball player. And I think when you get a certain age, man, it's time to have a little bit more maturity. And I think that's what this whole issue is. John Morant, he's got to mature, man. There's a thing. I think even the NBA tell these guys, especially when they go off to this rookie camp, that they tell them that, associations always come back to you, and some, you can't go back to your neighborhood in a lot of ways. Yet, you're a public figure and just not somebody that's live in the neighborhood anymore. And you have to disassociate yourself because you don't know what they're doing. But if they do something wrong and they're your buddies and you're in that vicinity, then you're going to be, that's a black eye for you. And I think that he's got to mature. Yeah. I think this gangster whatever doesn't do anything for me. I think it sends off a bad message to the youth. And I think he should concentrate on what he does, which is basketball. We don't need another gangster, man. We got too many gangsters in this world. And I like him. I think he's a great ball player. I think he's one of these elevated players that we're going to be talking about over the next 10 years. But I think you have to make wise decisions. When you're a star like him, there's going to be people that knock on your door and come in your corner. And, it might be a buddy that you went to high school with. Hell, it can even be a family member. But who's right and who's wrong and who's been into this and who's been into that. And that's when, one thing about being a professional athlete, you're going to make some people mad. You're going to have some people to tell you sold out and you think you better than us and that. But hey. You got more to lose than they have because you're making millions and they're not. So you got to get a whole new set of friends because you cannot go back to your hood and the same way it was when you were in high school. So I think he's got a lot of maturing to do, man. I think he's got to understand that You got to put this basketball first, and you got to have a small circle around you, and because you can get yourself in a lot. There have been players that got themselves in trouble because they had this wide scope of posses and whatever else you want to call it, and you in the middle of it, and you have to be the person who explain the actions of others. So it's not a good thing, man. Concentrate on basketball. Get your circle of friends a little narrow, and do what you do on the court. So
yeah. You are a $200 million man. You are in a vehicle that can take you so many places, so many opportunities, so many doors are opening up just because you can put a ball through a hoop. Boy, you're playing with house money. Pookie, Ray, Jamal, Tyrone, Walmart, Tavius, and Duracell got to stay where they are. They can't come with you. That's one thing. I had a buddy who coached football, and he was defensive coordinator when I was coaching at Sandalwood. And he had a buddy who he wanted to come with the coaching staff. So he came and he was like basically volunteering to, basically try to get on the coaching staff. And we were doing workouts one day, and his buddy got into it with one of the players. And, the player was disrespectful. And him and the player got into it. Instead of him going high, he went low with the player, and they got into it. And the coaches was like, well, yeah, he can't come back, whatever. And I told my buddy that day, I said, listen, everybody can't come with you. I understand that's your boy, that's your dude, that's your guy. But where you're going, where you trying to go, everybody can't come with you. Some people are anchors. They're going to sink your ship. I say he's one of them. And Ja has to understand that too. This is a hard lesson for a young man to understand. Because if he don't get it now, he ain't going to get it in the future, and it's going to derail him.
Yeah. Yeah, you everything you said is correct, man. And that's why you got to make yourself grounded, and you got to have a circle of friends that's for you. When you, like you say, $200 million man, you gonna have some. If you choose everybody in your circle, but just because they want to be your friend, you gonna have a lot in that number that just out for your limelight. They're gonna share that limelight with you, and they're going to share that money. They're going to put up that bar tab. They're going to get in this and that. Mm-hmm. And then he should go, you know what I say? And I know this is in NFL and NBA is different. This young man ought to have a talk with Ray Lewis. Ask Ray Lewis what happened to him when he was around his circle of friends in Atlanta at that Super Bowl. He had to learn the hard way. He had to cut that circle down.
Yes, he did.
And I always say these young athletes, somebody like Morant, man, sometimes you have to knock on the door of somebody that done been around. You might hear too many stories of what they did in their previous football or basketball career, but they do get to the point. And you have to take advice for people who already been through it before. And I think he needs to start knocking on some doors and getting some real mentors in his life. Whether it's LeBron's or somebody, but it's time for him to get some real mentors in his life and understand what those consequences are, man. I even say this, I criticize Charles Barkley a lot, but Charles Barkley he would be a good person to talk to about having too wide net of friends and going into places that you shouldn't go into when you got a temper that these guys. Yeah. You go to a bar, some guys will just say, oh, he think he's this and this, and he'll bait you into something, and then you on the news. That guy is not on the news who baited you into an altercation in that bar. And I think Charles Barkley, during his career, he probably went through 3 or 4 instances of being baited into a barroom fight and going to jail or having to answer to it. So those are people that this young man, he needs to console and narrow that list down and get some real mentors in his life, man. And I think the dad need to stop and I know it a proud moment for a parent. You see your son playing the NBA and you happy for him and you reaping the benefits, but that might be like the rookie year, maybe extend into the second year. But man, it looked to me that his dad gonna be like You know, he living off the coats of his son. You know,
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a good thing. You know, so
No,
maybe
I
it'd
don't.
be better to sit up in the luxury box than sitting on court side, you know?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you
Yeah.
might
Yes.
sit in the family section and not court side like you a rock star. I think the dad feels he's a rock star all all because of his son.
Yeah. All because of his son. Yeah, so I agree with all of that. Let me get a few of these comments. And yeah, I forgot to tag. Hey Dale, you could I tag Mr. Reed in just about every post that we do. So all I gotta do is click on his name. I forgot to do it today. So let me add him right now. And then you could just click on because he said he wanted to add you on Facebook. So let me get some of these comments. Yeah, Pete say, long live my boy Russ. yeah, long live Westbrook. He said, Dale say, I'm a Knicks fan. We're stuck in purgatory till we get to New Orleans. Yeah, James Dolan. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Just call it what it is. He's awful. I understand, Dale. I understand your pain. He said, I bet it's nice in Jacksonville. We just got through a cold spell here in Idaho. Minus 21, minus 38 wind chill. Yeah, it was 72 and cloudy today. I feel for you. I do.
Minus 38 wind chill.
That's crazy.
I ain't got to go protect me from that.
Yeah. It's a LaMelo Ball's dad all over again. Oh yeah, LeVar. Yeah, LeVar was off the chain. He wasn't quite like T. Morant is on the court. You know, he was just braggadocious and boisterous in interviews, but he was never like anytime he was at their games. Like maybe when they were in high school or when he was coaching them, he was a little animated. But other than that, he'd just be sitting. T. Morant be up walking.
Yeah,
you know, like he's like, what they talking about over there? He's talking about they ain't talking about nothing but Memphis. I'm like, if he don't go sit down somewhere,
he's a celebrity through his son.
had him sitting to Usher because him and Usher look alike. Yeah, I'm like, he done became a celebrity off his son. Yeah, but hey, it is what it is. Hey, congratulations, Dale. He said him and his wife just celebrated 26 years. That's great. Congrats. He said, Nesse, y'all need to understand that the hood don't lose millions. He will lose millions. He said,
amen.
Let's go laugh. Oh, I know what you laughing at. Pookie, Ray, Jamal, Tyrone, Walmart, Hale. Absolutely. Let's see. Say some friends you won't bring up, but they will bring you down. Winning mindset equals winning culture. That's spot on, Dale. Say, John, I need to add you on Facebook. Kassan, what's going on? He say T. Morant needs to dad, not like he the owner all on the court, like he Mark Cuban CEO type. Yeah, he like he part of the staff. He say T. Morant is all at the games on the road and at home. I know your son is the face of the franchise, but I know he not flying commercial, wasting money on private jets. Yeah. Hey, it is what it is. Yeah, it is. Is what it is.
It's time for Pops to go start watching some games on that 80-inch screen at home, man.
Yeah.
At least for a road game, you know. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Oh, what's going on? Oh, let me close it. So we're gonna wrap it up right here. We're gonna get it. And man, we gotta talk about Michael Irvin, man. This really bugged me. This really bugged me. So it says NFL Network, ESPN pulled Michael Irvin from Super Bowl week shows after woman's complaint. The former Cowboys wide receiver said he engaged in no physical contact with the woman beyond a handshake during a brief exchange in the hotel lobby, which he said in that exchange was 460 seconds tops. So former Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys his schedule NFL ESPN appearances for the remainder of Super Bowl week after a woman complained about his conduct during the end of the evening in Arizona. Irvin described the interaction to Dallas Morning News as a brief, public, and largely non-physical encounter. He said he engaged in no physical contact with the woman beyond a handshake when they parted ways. Irvin works for the NFL media, but also makes guest appearances on ESPN. Neither organization commented on the exact nature of the woman's accusations. Michael Irvin will not be a part of the NFL Network Super Bowl coverage, said Alex Rife Miller, NFL Media Vice President of Communications, said in a statement. Well, I want to know, what is the nature? Why would you not report the nature of the accusations? We ain't got to know her name, but what's the nature of the accusations? I really would like to know, because they said misconduct is what they painted it as. So the interaction in question, Urban told the news in a phone interview from Arizona, occurred Sunday in Glendale, the site of Sunday Super Bowl. Following dinner and drinks with former Cowboy safety Michael Brooks, Irvin returned to the hotel at which he is staying and struck up a conversation there with the woman. He said, honestly, I'm a bit baffled with it all. All happened back after going and came into the lobby. I talked to her for about 45 seconds. We shook left. That's all I know. Irvin, a Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee, said he hadn't seen the woman before or since their talk, which he estimated lasted up to a minute. He said he is unable to recall the full nature of the conversation, but insisted the only physical contact between the two was the handshake. I don't recall the conversations, to tell you the truth. Irvin said, we were out drinking. It was just a friendly conversation. What's up? I don't even know. I'm totally perplexed. He said Irvin indicated that there's no video of the lobby encounter, but he has not personally viewed there is video. There is video of the lobby encounter, but he has not personally viewed the footage. He said he does not know the woman's name. Irvin appeared in NFL Network's Monday coverage of the annual Super Bowl opening night ceremony, which featured players, coaches from Kansas City and Philadelphia Eagles. NFL media officials afterward approached Irvin off air, Irvin said, regarding what occurred the previous night. A Glendale police spokesperson and official from other local police agencies said Tuesday they have no knowledge of any incident involving Irvin. Irvin said there was absolutely no sexual wrongdoing. What law did I break? There was definitely nothing physical. That's honestly all that happened. Nobody was in the room. It was a 45-second conversation in the lobby, a handshake. We left. I don't know. I don't know what this is, and it's running me crazy. According to the news released by ESPN distributed Monday, Irvin's guest on Friday on the sports debate show First Take will host Stephen A. and Molly Karam. Irvin will no longer appear on First Take, and ESPN spokesperson told the news on Wednesday. I do not like this. Because all this is innocent till proven guilty no longer exists, especially in situations like this when it comes to a woman saying something about a man. Is guilty until proven innocent. Because if this is the route we're going as a country, as a society, why for guys who have something to lose, I'm cutting my interactions with women short. If I'm in, that's why right now you have men who don't want to mentor women in the workplace, men who don't want to go to the same spaces, the spaces like the gym become a toxic place. Like you have men checking out day after day because of things just like this. It's just off a word. It's something that was said. There's no video evidence. There's no nothing. There's nothing has been proven. But because somebody said something, said he did something, he's no longer on the broadcast. This is absolutely disgusting to me. It is. And people will say, well, Brandon, that's overkill. You know, this is my opinion. You may like it. If this is how we're doing things, you have to take women out of men's space. If accusation is all to lose something, you have to take women out of male spaces, whether it's sports or whatever. You know, the staff, the female staff in football, from the female reporters in the locker room, cut it all out. If this is all it takes, if you're not going to do a true investigation and you're just going to say, well, okay, Mr. Irvin, you're gone because of what she said, I want no part of this. I'm disgusted.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Pretty wild. I mean, I think that came from an edict from the top on the NFL. I think that I think this league is scared. I think the NFL right now is scared about, just negative publicity. I think they over protect themselves from publicity that they feel is not favor to them. I think this goes back. I think this league right now said, okay, we can't have him on the NFL Network. We don't want to have something explode in our face. We don't want a Deshaun Watson situation. And I think they, generalizing more than, they generalizing without having facts, basically. And the league got a lot of work, man. And I'm with you in a way. I feel that I think as a country we need to. It's tough for a man to know, like, okay, it's okay sometimes if you had a celebration. Just say you had a celebration and you celebrating an anniversary. Most of the thing you're gonna do naturally is hug. Man, hug. He might hear something 2 years from now that, man, he hugged me inappropriately at a graduation.
Yeah,
and I think that's the where we coming to, that the boundaries are starting to be extensive, and we don't know what's appropriate. We don't know what the rules and the engagement of what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. It's almost like you can't even shake a hand. There's something wrong with that. And I know this. I mean, I wasn't in the lobby, but on Super Bowl week, I'm assuming that this was Sunday if he was on the television Monday. You got a bunch of fans in the hotel, pretty much all the hotels in Phoenix, I would assume. And you're going to tell me some incident happened where you got probably 400 people in the lobby? I mean, I find that hard to believe, to be honest, unless he, I don't know. I don't know what the allegation is or what, but. And then I say the NFL Network was quick trigger. I think ESPN was quick trigger. They don't want to have to explain to the groups and the potential, if he on television, there are going to be women's groups out there. Why have you have this guy on TV with this allegation? And it's just, I think that's where we're at right now. And it's not good. It's not a good place.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it come from the Watson thing. I think there's just people out there who's just, if you step on the line and somebody saw you and don't know even what the story is, but make accusations. And I think that now they said there's a video. I'm wondering why that video ain't out. So I don't know. But boy, we live in a world right now.
This is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh man. Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah, the internet is like it's doing something crazy.
Going in and out.
I don't know what's going on with it. Yeah, but it's going in and out. But yeah, we're gonna continue on. But yeah, this is crazy, man. And it's scary too. This is very scary, and because who knows who this woman is and who she's associated with, who she's affiliated with. She can do this. Who's to say somebody say, you know what? I don't want Stephen A hosting this, or I don't want Shannon Sharp doing this, or I don't want this famous person doing this, person that. So all it's gonna take is for somebody to have a 45-second interaction and a handshake, and then they're done. Is that what we're doing? And they could just lie. They could be targeting somebody. This could have been somebody who intentionally targeted him, had the interaction, and said he was inappropriate just to spite him. You have to consider everything. Go ahead.
I hope we haven't reached the point where you standing in the lobby as a celebrity, a lady comes up, hey, can I get your picture? I like to take a picture with you. And the guy like Irvin puts his arm around her shoulder, and we're gonna start calling that like sexual harassment. I think if that's the point we in right now, we in a troubled world, man.
Yes, we are. So much so till Keanu Reeves. If you ever Google Keanu Reeves and see him taking photos with fans. You know, Keanu Reeves is, you know, ridiculously famous. From John Wick to the Matrix, you name it, Keanu Reeves is that dude. Personally, I loved him in Constantine. But if you look at it, when he's taking pictures with women, he doesn't touch them. They touch him, they can like hug him or whatever, but he keeps his arm out, keep his hands out, so you see that he's not touching them. And that's sad. That's really sad.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the world we in, man. We don't know.
That's the world we in.
Yeah. There's a lot of boundaries out there, and I don't know, man. I feel equal. I know what equality is, and I just, you know, we got to live in a world where it's equal on both ends here. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but man, we're gonna move on. Hopefully, it gets resolved. You know, whatever's going on, and hopefully they can come to a conclusion and get some resolved with Michael Irvin. We're going to move on from there. We're going to stay in the NFL. We're going to talk about NFLPA's president, DeMaurice Smith, pushes to end NFL scouting combine, offers regional pro day as alternative. Say this is the second time in 3 months a high-ranking NFL executive has denounced the NFL draft event. So, who's the other? We say the NFL scouting combine has been around since 1982, the same year the league began tracking individual players' sacks. For years, it's been viewed as an opportunity for prospects to climb up the draft boards with standout performances and a variety of drills measuring their athleticism. However, the event has come under fire multiple times in the past 3 months, with disdain coming from the league's top executives. In December, Troy Vincent, the NFL executive's vice president of football operations, likened the combine to a slave auction. Then on Wednesday, NFL Players Association executive DeMaurice Smith said getting rid of the combine and replacing it with the regional pro days will be during what should be every football player's last semester in college. He said, who decided that it was a good idea to take your son and have him exclusively try out for the NFL's exclusive way of getting into the league? For the most part, unless you're a free agent player, you have to be invited to the combine. He said, one of Smith's largest sticking points with the current format is top draft prospects feeling like they need to. You not only have to sit there and endure embarrassing questions. He said, and I think that's horrible. I don't want to poo-poo any of that, but would you want your son to spend hours inside of an MRI machine, then be evaluated by 32 separate team doctors who are, by the way, are only doing it for one reason? What's the reason? To decrease your draft value. He said it's got to start with players and their agents understanding that the combine today has nothing to do with how fast you run, how high you jump, and how much you can lift. He said, thanks to social media era in the last 3 years of college film on the top prospects, the NFLPA boss doesn't think the league needs a combine to physically evaluate a player's capabilities. He said, we've been tracking all these players since they were in grade school. He said, if I ask you right now to pull up a high school video of a top draft pick, how long would it take you to do it? A response of 30 seconds was shouted back at him from the media gathered. He said, right, so we're now in an era where we know exactly how fast these guys can run, how much they can lift, how far they can jump, and do all of those things. Why do we insist on showing them up in Indianapolis? Showing up in Indianapolis. It's not anything physical, right? It's for the teams to be able to engage in intrusive employment actions that don't exist anywhere else. The NFL Scouting Combine will take place in Indianapolis from February 28th to March 6th this year. The league has held the combine in Indianapolis every year since 1987, with the exceptions of 2021 because of the pandemic. So, I will say he's making great points. Mm-hmm. I will say, there's been some very embarrassing moments, and it should be asked about some of the moments that the teams have had with players and the type of questions they've asked. The one that come off the top of my head is Dez Bryant, when they asked he told him his dad was a pimp, He said, well, what's your mom do? He's like, well, my mom worked for my dad. And he said, well, was your mom a prostitute? Why would you ask that young man that? Why is that relevant to football? Like, I don't understand. But I will say NFL teams, of course, they want to keep it. They want to keep doing this because they want to continue to do that. They want to continue to do the medical evaluations. They want to continue to devalue to value draft stock of the players. And I believe that, yeah, it's really not that needed. A regional pro day, let them run. You get their 40s and do a little stuff like that. But not as extensive as what they do in Indianapolis. Now, I will say I am a watcher of the combine. One of my favorite combine workouts was Maurice Jones-Drew. Maurice Jones-Drew, when I saw him working out, I say Jacksonville has to draft this kid. And lo and behold, they took him in the second round. One of the greatest workouts I've ever seen. One of the greatest 40 times I've ever seen run was by Dontari Poe. Remember Dontari Poe? Dontari Poe, that boy was running like the police was chasing him. I've never seen a big man move that fast. So it's been some great moments at the combine. You get to see these guys, do a little something and work out and run and lift and jump and stuff, and that's cool. But I think DeMaurice Smith makes a great point about ending the combine.
Well, I have to put my journalism hat on this one because I think that anytime that you can get all of the group in one spot and you can dispense stories and that, I see a purpose for that as a former journalist. But my problem with the whole event, and it's like a lot of the stuff with the NFL do, I think they've done hyped it up too big that it's a major event when it shouldn't be. I mean, I think you can get those guys in and out. I don't think the combine need to last 4 days or 5 days or whatever it is. And I think they can do what they get done, measurements, and run the 40 and do what they need to do. But, the thing is, I don't understand when you bring all these guys and get evaluations at the combine, then you have the school, they have the workouts at the colleges that they're at. Then they have personal visits where they're invited to the team facility. So, I mean, there's a lot of scrutinizing for measurements and a little bit that you can see. I mean, I think the big bonus point probably be for a wide receiver, maybe running back, that you could show some things. But overall, I don't know what a offensive lineman can do other than some agility on the field. So I just think it's overblown and overdone. I as a journalist, I love the fact that they had everybody there, that you have availability with everybody that's at the combine. They have their little, all of them go up to the podium, but they all speak at the same time. So that's an issue. But I mean, I see Smith making some good points, but I also see some of the benefits that you want to have for the NFL. The NFL is greedy. Let's make that point. The NFL is greedy. They want all the attention in the off season, not as much as they want during the season, but they want to be headliners. And this is one of the events that, where that combine is in February. It's this month. I think it's in a couple of weeks. And that leads into, draft. Everybody start putting out their mock drafts based on the performances at the combine. And, it's just that off-season cycle. And if you do it at the colleges going to control the narrative. They're not going to have as many. You have to put in your media credential for, say, the University of Florida. Well, University of Florida is not going to accept everybody to come watch their play, watch a combine at their school with their own players. So colleges is a lot more restrictive on access. And you don't want the University of Florida putting out 40 times if you can't verify the times. So that's another thing. A lot of times when you see these guys, they in college, they were 6'6", 240, 266, 330. Then when the NFL get them and all the world see them getting measured, then man, they like 20 pounds lighter.
Oh
three
yeah,
quarter.
yeah. One that comes to mind. Two that comes to mind is one was Michael Crabtree. They had Michael Crabtree listed at like 6'3", like 210ish, around maybe 212 or something like that. He came to combine. He was barely 6'1", and I think he was barely over 200 pounds. So yeah, that happens. And then was it Mount Cody? Remember Terrence Cody? They had him listed at like 340, but you know that boy was all the 365, 370. So yeah, I agree on that. I will say that I would like to see him in person up close, so I can see the measurables are what they are.
And them 40 times, believe me, colleges lie about 40 times, man. Yes. You ain't got 100 cameras out there clocking that 40 time, and boy, they come up with some 4-1-2-2s out there, and this guy like might be 4-5 or 4-6, but he ain't no 4-1-2-3. So I see the benefits both ways. I think it's overhyped though. I just think that it's a made for television event on NFL Network, and it's this and it's that.
Yeah.
And Lord, you know, we talking February. The draft is what, in April or whatever it is, and it's just like, man, it just. I think it's too much build up for the draft, and personally for me, I just think it's too much build up. I think you go 3 months starting with this combine at the end of February, and it's just on and on and on and on and on and on and on, and just I don't know, man. It's a little burnout. But that's an ex-journalist speaking, so
yeah,
that's just my take.
Yep.
What do I know?
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, we're gonna leave it right there. We're gonna get on this last topic. We're gonna get up out of here. It says Brett Favre sues Shannon Sharp, Pat McAfee for defamation. He also sued Mississippi's state auditor, Shad White, as well. So it's a Hall of Fame quarterback, Brett Favre, who remains embroiled in the largest welfare fraud scandal in Mississippi state history, filed 3 separate defamation lawsuits Thursday against state auditor Shad White, as well as national sports commentators Shannon Sharp and Pat McAfee. Favre's lawsuit against White, whose office first discovered the fraudulent spending that ultimately led to criminal charges against 6 people, accuses White of shamelessly and falsely attacking Favre's good name in order to advance his political career. Favre has not been criminally charged. White has made egregiously false and defamatory statements accusing Favre of stealing taxpayer funds and knowingly misusing funds designed to serve poor folks, the lawsuit states. Everything Auditor White has said about this case is true and is backed by years of audit work by the professionals at the office of the state auditor. Fletcher Freeman, a spokesperson for the state auditor's office, said Thursday in response to Favre's lawsuit. Favre became involved in the public fraud case in 2020 after investigators in White's office discovered that at least $77 million in public money from temporary assistance for needy families, funds earmarked for the neediest families in the state, instead was used to line the pockets of the rich and powerful Mississippians. According to a state audit and civil lawsuit in which Favre and dozens of others are named as defendants, Favre was paid $1.1 million in the TANF funds for speeches White has said Favre never made. Favre eventually paid the money back, but the state is suing him for $228,000 in interest. The Athletic Foundation at Favre's alma mater, the University of Southern Mississippi, also received $5 million in those funds, according to a state audit. Text messages show Favre pushed state officials for funding for a new volleyball facility on campus during the time his daughter was on the team. Mr. Favre has called Auditor White and his team liars despite repaying some of the money our office demanded from him, Freeman said Thursday. He also claimed the auditors are liars despite clear documentary evidence showing he benefited from misspent funds. Instead of paying the New York litigators to try this case, he'd be better off fully repaying the amount of welfare funds he owes the state. But they ain't playing with him. They's like, you trying to sell our name. We got the paperwork, we got the evidence, we got the smoking gun. He said Favre's attorney said in their lawsuit that they have seen no recordings indicating Mr. Favre knew that money was provided for speeches or for his alma mater from those funds. He said Favre's lawsuit against Sharp, a NFL veteran of 14 seasons who now serve as co-host of FS1 Skip and Shannon Undisputed, alleged that Sharp defamed Favre by saying on his broadcast that Favre was a sorry mofo to steal from the lowest of the low, and that Favre stole money from people that really needed that money. He said similar allegations were made in the lawsuit filed by Favre on Thursday against former NFL punter and popular sports commentator Pat McAfee. According to the suit, McAfee called Favre a thief who was stealing from poor people in Mississippi on his popular national sports podcast. McAfee also works as a commentator for ESPN. Favre's spokesperson declined to comment on the lawsuits. His lawsuits note numerous charities have been benefited from Favre's For Hope Foundation, which says it supports disadvantaged and disabled children and breast cancer patients that Favre has supported causes, including Southern Mississippi and the development of medication to prevent concussions. But tax records reveal Favre's alma mater was the major recipient of his charitable givings. Prevacus, a company developing a concussion drug in which Favre was the top outside investor, also received TANF funds, according to the state audit. This is interesting because all this is, just me personally, I just think that this is Brett Favre and this sour grapes. You might as well go and make some wine with these grapes, Mr. Favre. Because, okay, you want to sue Shannon, you want to sue Pat McAfee. What's not named in this is that he sent a cease and desist also to Dr. Umar Johnson. For those who don't know Dr. Umar Johnson, popular. I know he's been on podcasts. He called himself the King Kong of consciousness and stuff like that. So you could Google him, Dr. Umar Johnson. He's also received a letter from Brett Favre as well to cease and desist and threatening he was going to sue him for defamation as well because of the things he said about Brett Favre. But you crying about this, Brett. But like that auditor said, you're better off paying the money that you owe them than to pursue this lawsuit right here, because you're suing Shannon Sharpe, Pat McAfee, and potentially Dr. Umar Johnson. What is that going to prove? This and the state auditor, the auditor's office have everything. They have all the documents. So what are you going to win in this case? What you trying to clear your supposed good name because somebody said this about you and you like your charity does this and does that. $77 million have been stolen from the poor and Brett Favre. You got to eat this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with it. I think Brett Favre, being the football star, the Hall of Famer, trying to silence people, which that tells me all I need to know about that situation right there. Going to court for defamation, but I always feel the truth will come out sooner or later. But when the guys start to cringe and start to make these drastic, decisions based on people just, hey, if he did it, he's going to get talked about. And I feel Brett Favre got to understand. I know he's from Mississippi, beloved superstar and all that, but nobody's above the law. And I feel whether it's Brett Favre or anybody, to steal that kind of money going to the needy that needs it, the people who needs it, if it's true, then he should get what's coming to him, and you can't silence people if you've done this. And I'm assuming that they got evidence. This thing's been going on for a while, and I just think that's a desperation part on Brett Favre to just keep people quiet, and that's definitely not a good way to silence people when we live in a country where we predicated on free speech and media is predicated, which Shannon Sharpe is a media member of freedom of speech. So I think that suit will get thrown out, and I think Brett Favre need to worry about trying to get his case together than worrying about what people talking about him. He's not that's I go back to these ex-players, man. It's like, man, you don't part to see anymore, and you don't have a stadium full of people who clapping for you anymore. So you also can't control the narrative anymore either. You don't have the football team telling the media relations what they can ask and what they cannot ask and those kind of things. So welcome to the real world, Brett Favre. And I think that you got a lot more you need to be worried about if this stuff is true.
Yeah, absolutely. You have much more to worry about. He needs to be focused on paying back that $28,000. That's what he needs to be focused on. I don't know about you. You need to be focused on that. Yeah.
Let's not forget that Mississippi is one of the poorest states in America. And for this guy to be pocketing, if he did it, to be pocketing that kind of money, he got to be held accountable.
Yeah, he has to be. And then to sue Shannon Sharp, Pat McAfee, and potentially Dr. Umar Johnson, really? If you're going to do that, why don't you go for the gusto? Sue their networks. They don't want to allow them to say it on their networks. Say, hey, I'm suing them because Shannon Sharp said this. I mean, ESPN reported it. Fox Sports reported it. CBS Sports. Every major news outlet has basically kind of said something about it, or somebody's talked about it that's worked at the network. But I will say they have not covered this like they covered Kyrie Irving. They haven't. They haven't covered this. Right. It's the same like Dana White. Dana White and his wife basically had a UFC fight in the middle of a club. Mm-hmm. And they didn't talk. That went away, didn't it? It's gone.
Yeah,
all of a sudden it's gone. Ain't it? That's crazy to me.
Yeah, that's crazy real to me. Crazy. Yeah.
But you want to talk about Kyrie? Okay, yeah. So but man, yeah, Brett, get it together, Brett. Golly.
Yeah, get it together, Brett. You can't muzzle people. They can talk. It's you the one that did wrong. If you did it.
Yeah, especially if you did it, but. It is what it is, but man, we're going to leave it right there. Any final thoughts, Mr. Reed, before we get out of here?
Well, Super Bowl, man. I think Philly going to be tough to beat. That's what I say. Looking forward to the game, but I think Kansas City going to have a battle on them hands. I think Philly going to win that Super Bowl.
Yeah. I'm going to ride with my homeboy and Big Red, Andy Reid. I think they're going to get it done. I think it's going to should be a really good game. I think it's going to come down to the wire. I will say that the Eagles are excellent, exactly where they need to be, and that's on the defensive line. That's one of the ways that you top quarterbacks, number one, you try to keep them off the field as much as possible by possessing the football and pass rush. Mm-hmm. Those are the two things. Eagles have that in abundance because Jalen Hurts and that read option and that passing game, the run game, they can play ball control over there. And then they got 4 players with double-digit sacks. You got Hassan Reddick with almost 20 sacks, and how in the world they get Ndamukong Suh? That's still baffling me, But man, it's going to be very interesting to see. Hopefully it's a good show. Say Rihanna's doing the halftime show. I will be tuned in for that.
Yeah, be watching.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. But
one last thing, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
NFL, man. I am not gonna sit there watching TV and watch the flag football team, the game, or dodgeball. Let's get something. Let's think of something a little bit better, because that. I mean, I'm not gonna sit there on a Saturday, whenever it was, and watch dodgeball.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're trying right now. What they're doing is they're throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks. And see, I forgot all about it, man, because I maybe watched a little bit of some of the events. I did watch Trevor. Trevor was good. I did watch him, but I think it was Brandon Jacobs already said. He said, "Man, this is stupid."
Yeah.
So I mean, it is what it is. They got to find something because you might not like this, Brandon. Brandon. Now, did I say Brandon Jacobs? I don't say Brandon Jacobs. This may be stupid, but what was stupid is them running around hugging each other for 3 hours. That was stupid. Come on, you got like you can't. The Pro Bowl was a joke. They had to take the game away. So, but now, I mean, the flag football is cool. It's Josh Jacobs. I don't know what to say, Brandon Jacobs, but Josh Jacobs. But now they took that away, and now you got to figure out something to do. You just can't have anything. I mean, it's not like the NBA. So, I mean, hopefully they can settle on some events that they really like. I mean, flag football wasn't too bad. I mean, I seen what Jalen Ramsey decleated Tyreek Hill. And and that touchdown pass that Trevor threw to Stephon Diggs was absolutely beautiful. So the flag football is definitely going to stay. But some of that other stuff, they're probably going to tweak it, of course. But you know, we'll see what goes on. But man, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And we will be back with more live streams. I'll talk to you guys later, man.
Peace out, folks.
Peace out.